This is a clear situation for years of being the aggressor and now trying to play victim. It is Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana are the ones under threat, not Venezuela. The warning issued recently by Venezuela's defense minister against Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana is as dangerous as it is ironic. For years, it has not been Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana threatening Venezuela. In fact, it has been the other way around, where the Maduro regime, their actions have destabilized our regions and threatened both Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana in recent times. Let us remember the facts. Firstly, the unmitigated migration. The wave of migration from Venezuela has strained our resources, challenged our social services, created new security concerns for our people. In fact, just yesterday, there was a shooting at Stobay, Tobago, practically unheard of until recent years, where the suspect, originally from Venezuela, was apprehended thanks to the swift work of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. This crisis was worsened when the previous administration foolishly agreed to regularize 20,000 Venezuelans who all turned up at Queen's Park Oval with no proper vetting. Among them could easily have been individuals linked to criminal elements. And this unfairly advantaged Venezuelans over more than 100,000 other illegal migrants from countries across the globe who have been here years before the Venezuelans who got in and who live and contribute to Trinidad and Tobago without ever being given such an opportunity for legal status. We can discuss cross-border drug trade. The illegal drug trade has flourished under the present Venezuela government's watch, with Trinidad and Tobago forced to confront the consequences of cross-border trafficking, as well as human trafficking, child prostitution, and illegal entry of weapons into our country. This is why the present Trinidad and Tobago administration welcomed U.S. forces in the Southern Caribbean waters, since this illegal trade has long fueled violent crime in our nation. The Essequibo aggression, again, Guyana has endured repeated Venezuelan aggression in the Essequibo region, which is a clear violation of international law and a source of constant instability. This cannot be ignored by our government, since it is Guyana today, but tomorrow it could be Trinidad and Tobago. I can then discuss illegal incursions into Trinidad and Tobago waters. For decades, Venezuela's La Guardia Nacional has entered our territorial waters unlawfully, harassing our fishermen, seizing their vessels, confiscating their nets, confiscating their catch, and leaving our citizens to fend for themselves. This was enabled by the failure of successive PNM governments, both pre-2010 and after 2015, when they failed to provide the Coast Guard with the naval assets required to defend our borders. Because we provided 12 dormant vessels, they were procured pre-2015, and the PNM failed for 10 years to have them fully operationalized or properly maintained, leaving our maritime frontier exposed and our fishermen unprotected. I can then go on to the false accusations and dangerous pretexts. Venezuela has also thrown repeated shots across our bow with reckless falsehoods in recent times. Firstly, they are the ones who drew first blood by falsely accusing Trinidad and Tobago of being used as a base, a so-called launch pad to destabilize their regime. Lies. More dangerously, they have escalated this narrative by lying that Trinidad and Tobago is harboring terrorists who are plotting to attack Venezuela. In their own words, they claim they will go anywhere to apprehend such individuals. This is no idle statement. This is a deliberate and cheap excuse that I see seemingly designed to justify entering a country's territory under the false cover of self-defense. Such rhetoric is not only deceitful, but it also represents a direct threat to our sovereignty and an insult to our integrity as a nation. This is why Venezuela's latest threat rings hollow. In typical communist-like fashion, the aggressor now paints itself as the victim, warning of responses to so-called attacks, when it is their own actions that have forced responses from the international community. Trinidad and Tobago, through the agreements like the Status of Forces, SOFA, has chosen to work with partners to deal with transnational organized crime, counter narcotics, protect our borders, safeguard our citizens. This is not an invitation to war, nor a platform for foreign occupation. It is a sovereign decision to protect our people, which this government appears committed to uphold at this time. As someone who has served 17 years as a soldier, later as a security minister and a commissioner of police, I speak not from the politics, but from my training, my operational experience, and my regional expertise. My career has been built on understanding threats, preventing escalation, and defending sovereignty. That is precisely why, despite my military background, we shall not in any way be intimidated by any foreign country that is trying to threaten Trinidad and Tobago. Our nation should always defend its sovereignty, uphold international law, and engage through CARICOM and international partners to keep the Caribbean a zone of peace. But let us be clear, the real danger to peace in our region is not Trinidad and Tobago nor Guyana. It is based on the Maduro government who drew first blood and have continued to threaten Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana.